get started when I go live in here. Music is playing. Music is Oh, we're live. Okay. I'm seeing myself over here, so looks like we're live. All right. Well, I'm going to turn the music down now so people can start to hear us, but we're going to let people get in, come in. Then we'll get started. In case he's watching. All right. Well, this is Father's Day, so welcome everybody out here on this special Father's Day. Hope you guys are all doing well. This is my dad right here. Sitting next to me, I put in a different video, but we're literally sitting right next to each other right now. But Dad, introduce yourself.
I'm Mike Coito. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there.
All right, so a lot of what we do, like I said, at this company is, we do a lot of trips. We go a lot of places, so I started doing this a long time ago as well. He likes to travel a lot. So I'm going to tell a story about my first game, NBA game. What you remember about that game, Dad?
First NBA game. Charles Barkley was his rookie year. Julius Erving, I think it was his last year. Moses Malone was still playing. And they were playing the New Jersey Nets at the Meadowlands. And Sixers won. All I remember that's first time I was back east, and it was different.
So that was the first of many of my games. Last year at this time, I was at the NBA Finals a couple of years. So this is the reason when I started going to NBA games real early and keeping that going and bringing you guys to NBA games. We've done so many NBA games and NFL games. We've done so much in Major League Baseball. And he was there for our very first trip as well, 2012. We did, he caught a foul ball actually at the Padres game. Yeah, you had to find that ball you caught, the Padres game. So, if we're talking about some of our trips that we went on, what's some of the memorable moments you had since in our Hawaii Sports Fans trip? Since he's been on kind of a few now. San Diego, Wisconsin,
San
New
Diego
York.
was nice. Yeah, that was Petco Field. Watching them play there, that was a beautiful field. Mm-hmm. First time I was at a major league game in ages, and I got to see San Diego, beautiful city. Then whirlwind tour. Next day we were in California Angels, and next day we were LA Dodgers.
Yep.
Yeah, really crazy to see all those games. And then the fourth day, UH football, of course, in the Coliseum. That was a totally great experience. 4 days of memories. I don't think I could do it more than once a year, though.
No, I mean, well, we do jam-pack a lot of stuff when we go. So last trip we did New York City. We had to share a room. It was one of those small rooms if you guys have ever been to the Yotel. Good location in Manhattan, but we shared a room. We did a Hawaii Sports Fans trip where we did the Mets game, we did a Yankee game, we did the UH versus Army, and then we did a Jets game, which was fun. And that was also his birthday. So what do you remember about that game? September 16, 2018.
The Jets game?
Yeah.
Well, the biggest highlight was the West Point game, and seeing West Point. That was great. Finally getting to go to West Point. And too bad UH lost, and I know it was super hot, but it was that was an experience being there for military academies and seeing what they do and how that campus looked like and everything. Just being around New York, it made you appreciate Hawaii.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. New York is beautiful. We got to go at a good time of year when it's still kind of warm, but we also, years prior to that, we went to Wisconsin. So he's a Packer fan, and he got to go to the Packer game. If you saw my Aloha Friday flashback when we went to Wisconsin, Green Bay, Wisconsin, go back and check that out because we go to Green Bay, and that was his first time going. What was that like going to Lambeau, your first time?
That was great. I mean, just driving through those fields, all these dairy cows and driving fields. All of a sudden, you see this huge stadium rising up out of nowhere, and then the whole area, I mean, just right around that Titletown was it was huge, and all kinds of players have their restaurants and stuff, and huge training facility, Hall of Fame, and it was something else going over there.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I just remember seeing a bunch of old players. That was kind of cool because Green Bay, you know, they're really invested in their history and their players. And Paul Hornig was there, and some other guys that you recognize.
Yeah.
What are some of the guys you recognize and remember?
Yeah, Jerry Kramer was sweating it out over there signing autographs
Yeah.
with Paul Hornig.
Yeah.
And we saw a bunch of other guys, Carol Dale, I think,
Yep.
Willie Davis, late Willie Davis now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Wow, that's pretty cool that we got to see that.
Yeah.
But that trip also, you know, was your first time going to a place that you were a fan of, the Packers. So talk about how you became a Packer fan and why, and what's your earliest memories
I
of the
guess
Packers?
back in the day when you first start liking sports, I must have been 5th or 6th grade, and then I liked the Packers and my brother liked the Cowboys. and we still have that rivalry going on now, so I'm kind of loyal to my team. But yeah.
What about the Packers do you remember, and who are some of the early athletes you remember?
Well,
playing
those
for the
days are
Packers?
Bart Starr. You know, Lombardi was one of the biggest motivators of that time, and they just had a bunch of great team at the time. Ray Nitschke, Forrest Gregg, Jim Taylor. So yeah, they won the first couple of Super Bowls. Well, they didn't even call it a Super Bowl then, but I remember watching that, and it was live too, believe it or not.
Wow.
Even though the games prior to that were on radio, and you had to listen to the radio like the championship game prior to that, the divisional.
Well, now we got internet. Well, we got everything now. It's crazy. You can just, I see you get go on the website, check out all the latest news. But before that, when we were going to games early in my life as well, some of my earliest memories, I would say, of our biggest games we went to when I was a kid. What are some of your earliest? I remember trying to get me to go to see Reggie White when we were in New Jersey, trying to go to Eagles camp, training camp.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Reggie White is also, a great player. One of the best players for me. I love, big DNs and, guys like that were fun to watch. And we see a lot of them now, like Aaron Donald. But when we talk about, some of those trips, what are some of the memories you have of those early days as well?
Yeah, we always tried to catch something, some kind of sports event when we were on the mainland, and since we were in back east visiting our cousins, decided to just take the trip over the bridge from Jersey into Westchester and go watch Reggie White was finishing up. I think who was it? The running back just came to the
like Herschel Walker, I think.
Herschel Walker came in. He was just coming in, and lots of fans watching him practice and getting all rowdy already. It was just training camp, but fans were ready to go. So that was an introduction into big time pro football.
Well, we did a lot of pro football games together. My first NFL game was also with him, seeing the Packers in 2000. We went to go watch Packers versus Cardinals in Phoenix, and that was the day after my first. I don't know, that was your first UH road game. That was in 2000 as well, when we went and saw UTEP beat us in Timmy Chang's first start. So that was a fun memory, but that was kind of crazy. The fans weren't very nice to us in El Paso. I do remember that, actually.
Right. Well, I know we lost, but
yeah, we got blown out.
And that was a long drive because we were driving from Phoenix, through New Mexico to get to Texas. That was a long drive. It was a nice trip, though. I like driving.
Yeah, it was fun. That's a fun area. So
went to the Sun Bowl.
Yep.
Talked to some fans that made it, some parents and stuff. I think I spoke with Correa's mom. She was there. And too bad we lost, but next day we drove back, so that was the beginnings, I guess.
Yeah.
Drove all the way back to Phoenix to watch Green Bay play. Like Cardinals, and there was more Green Bay fans in there than Cardinal fans at that time. I guess fans weren't catching on in Arizona yet, but
Packers always travel well though, so they always have plenty of Packer fans everywhere. But we also we'll talk about a lot of our football exploits. I mean, we went to a ton of places together, football games, and going to University of Wisconsin and Going to this past year to Reno for my 50th game. That was fun, and it's snowing, and that was crazy. And then the block punt happened. I was in the bathroom, and he had to tell me about it because I came back. I was so cold that I had to go to the bathroom and just wait in there. But when we talk about like sports in our house, a lot of it circles around basketball because that's a big sport in our house. We all played it. You also coached it as well. So talk about basketball. What got you interested in the game? So passionate about.
Well, yeah, I guess just started liking it because we always just played a lot of sports with the guys in the neighborhood. So we always played, football, basketball, baseball. Just the main sports. We play on the streets, and we had fun, and just started gravitating towards basketball because we put up the driveway basketball goal with the telephone wire going through so we had to shoot line drives, but it was fun. And just started getting more and more into that game, and as time went on, started playing a lot more with different guys around town, getting to know more of the guys that could play, and it was fun, learning experience. And then when my kids started playing, I started coaching. I started coaching at kid level, and then moved up to high school and did some years in high school. But it was fun because you could spend time with the kids and help their friends, and meet people, and it was a lot more fun coaching kids than in high school. Yeah, little kids are much more fun.
Yeah, so you started coaching me, all of my siblings, we all, I even got to coach as well. But when you talk about coaching at the high school level and the challenges of that, it is very challenging to coach at high school. It's not like compensate you very much, and you got to do a lot of your own time into it. So shout out to all our high school coaches. But you were OA West Coach of the Year in 2002 and 2004. And what do you remember about those seasons in particular?
I remember that I was pretty lucky because I got a pretty good team that was handed to me. But I knew those kids for a long time, most of them. So in Mililani, you get all kinds of good talent. Kids know each other growing up. So, it was never, everybody knew who the better players were. But it was good kids, good families. So it was an enjoyable experience.
What was the toughest part about coaching high school basketball, I think?
I don't know. I was just kind of feeling my way. I never thought I would be the head coach, but I kind of outlasted everybody. And next thing you know, I'm the head coach. But yeah, there's a lot to learn. To become a good coach, you got to really, you got to wear a lot of hats. So yeah, you always say you could have did a better job, of course. But yeah, the main thing is you want to get better at it.
Well, you didn't stop coaching at Mililani, and then in 2005 you got let go. What was that experience like?
Well, I wasn't surprised, but I figured I had my chance. I had my chance to do it, and it was, it's all good. You learn from it, and then I kept learning after that.
Yeah, you went over to your alma mater. What was like coaching over there?
Yeah,
Damien?
that was a little different, but I saw where some of my shortcomings were in as far as coaching and what you could but deep down, you could have did better. You could have did better. You always try to tell yourself, you could have did a better job at coaching.
Yeah.
All players, you just got to coach them, and hats off to all the coaches that do well and last a long time in that business because it ain't easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great experience.
Well, basketball also not just coaching, not just playing, and he still plays a lot. Talk about how much you still play. Actually.
Oh, I still play a couple of days a week. Halava with the gang up there, but Mililani Mormon Church and HPD guys on Sundays. Good bunch of guys. So
shout out to your HPD friends who are watching out there. Some of them commenting probably. So comment
if they're watching. I don't mean.
There are a bunch of them on Facebook. So.
Get out there and play, guys. I'm the only old guy out there.
Yeah, you gotta make your plea. What time you guys play and everything?
Yeah, come there at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
Everybody's gonna show up to the training center now next week at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, come on down.
But basketball is something we always had fun watching as well. One of my ultimate, memories definitely watching basketball is going to the Maui Invitational, and we had so many amazing games there. And this was like 92, 93, 91, I think might have been the first year we went. But we went a couple of years in a row. I mean, we saw, Anthony, seeing Penny Hardaway, seeing Bobby Hurley, seeing Grant Hill, Watching Kentucky beat Arizona in the last second, and watching all these great games and seeing all these. What do you remember? Well, we talked about the Maui Invitational because now it's cool because I work it. I work as media every year at Maui Invitational, and he actually got to be there with me too. He was my assistant 4 years ago.
Right.
So we actually got to go to Maui Invitational and be there in the stands, and it was so different back then.
Press room food, that was great.
Yeah, the press room was great place to hang out. But what do you remember about those old days too, watching the Maui?
Well, I remember they didn't really expect locals to go to that, so I'd have to go up to Maui. Luckily, I was working for the airlines at the time, part-time, so I would fly up there, find out where the tickets are at, and then come back and get everybody ready. And I know a couple times we brought my 2 sons came, when my nephew came.
Yeah.
Stayed with other friends up there.
Sneak people in.
It
was back in the day of the Maui, way different tournament than
it was
great,
now. Big time basketball, but we'd stayed for all the games, whereas most other fans would just come watch their team play and leave.
Yeah.
But we'd stay and we'd watch all the games, and we'd talk to Pete Newell, all these Hall of Famers. And that was
Yeah, we'd always see like Magic Johnson, Sinbad. But it was cool, I mean, even then as a kid, I was like a little precocious kid, running up to the play-by-play guys, John Saunders. May he rest in peace, actually. So he kind of blew me off as a kid. I told him to say hi to Mom, but that's okay. Bill Raftery was there.
He's not a
Raftery was there, but now I get to go in the press room myself, so I don't need to talk to any of those guys. But also, you brought up Pete Newell. That was fun because the Big Man Camp is also one of my big memories. I mean, Big Man Camp and being able to see all those guys up close and, see them work their post moves and stuff. Talk about that.
Yeah, we went there for how many years in a row? We went to the Big Man's Camp while it was in Hawaii, and I always talked to Pete Newell, but I just watch them, when they were at Kalani, Kamehameha, and I'd see other coaches that I'd coach against, and we just lapped up all those freebie information that we could get. Watching all these players and watching them go through drills that I would try to incorporate later. Yeah, it was a great experience. We were lucky to have him coming down here because that was a big deal, that Big Man's Camp.
Yeah, that was super fun. And being able to see like Sean Kemp just dunk on that Kalani High School basketball rim.
Yeah,
and
Tyrone Hill, Danny Manning.
All those guys, Isaiah Ryder. I mean, the whole era of guys too that were dunking. And
the late Bobby Fields, he's there. He's a guard, but he was at the Big Man Camp. And I noticed all those guys, Tyrone Hill, as soon as they left that camp, their game was really up. They became better offensive players for sure. Yeah,
that was a long time. AC Earl, I remember all guys that we would see, Sean Bradley.
Kenyon Martin.
Kenyon Martin, that was fun when that was at Kalani. But we got to go find those the camcorder. I got to figure out how to get some of those. But it's going to have some vintage action for YouTube with Sean Kemp dunking at Kalani High School. I remember just sitting under the rim and watching him. But also, we like the NBA so much. I mean, before, he used to do a prediction. It's so crazy because the game has changed so much. I mean, growing up and having Drazen Petrovic card and be like, wow, this is like the one guy who's not American. Now it's like the whole league is so international. It's so cool how much the game has grown to the whole world. And now, there's great players all over the world. But when we used to do the draft, that was fun. Remember those days when we used to predict the draft order?
Yeah, that was a hobby I used to do, and then that became a normal thing. I was doing it when nobody else was doing it. I would try and predict, and then but
typing one out in my but you had the old magazines and the internet.
We had no internet. Yeah, so you pretty much had to rely on whatever was available, and then but. I still keep tabs on it, but now I just wait for the next couple of weeks before the draft when you get all the information on online, and you can just see who's this guy, that guy. But it's interesting because it's tough, and all these guys are stars. And next thing you know, they're just they're not doing it as well in the pros, and it's a tough job, and you got to draft well, or your job's on the line.
Yeah, I mean, the draft is something that's, and there's so many players now. We can't even keep track of the European players and all these great players that are coming. Now, a lot of players are just, going to avoid the NBA or avoid college and go to, what do you think about that? Because there are guys, coming in from high school before, and obviously that was a thing before, but the NBA is trying to move away from that, or has moved away from that. Obviously, they want people to get away. Doesn't mean play pros now. It doesn't mean go to college. I mean, you have to go to college because now you can go to Australia, you can go to Greece, you can go to the G League, which I think is actually getting a bunch of good prospects this year. But talk about, do you think that improves the game, or how do you think that affects the game in general?
Well, they always got a supply of players coming up, and then they're changing now with the G League. It's keeping guys close by so they can just jump on a team. They're not stuck in a European contract. But although Europe has a lot of leagues with a lot of good players, so there's opportunities for players all around to earn a living at what they like. Ex-player of mine, Rashawn Brodus, did that, had a nice career. Retired now, he's helping out Memphis Grizzlies, training point guards. So yeah, I mean, of course that's only a small percentage of guys that do it. But yeah, I mean, if it's still enjoyable. I like watching a pro game. I missed it when it was yanked away from this past March Madness and everything. Was that was like we were looking forward to that, but.
Yeah, it's weird not having the basketball, not having the finals. Are you looking forward to the Orlando, and do you think that's going to work out?
Well, I haven't been. I just haven't been looking at it too much. I'm waiting for it to become a reality. Hopefully, they iron out the bugs and everybody's in shape. There's going to be an asterisk attached to it, I'm sure, but. I'm sure the Players Association, if they got problems with it, they'll let it be known. But
I think the players want to play. I mean, especially like we talked about the Lakers in particular, really wanted this season. And,
they look really good. They look really good. Yeah,
they do, and would be a year for LeBron and AD to put it together. But Tim Duncan's first championship was in the '99 shortened season. Right? It was like a 35-game season. So
right.
I mean, we don't really look back at it with asterisk as much. But I mean, looking forward to these guys getting back on the court and what it does for society. What do you see in the value of just having sports being played?
We need it. I think we really need it right now. Maybe it'll calm things down.
No, and I think that could help things as well. I mean, with the way the world is, having sports played. If you're a big, soccer fan, football, European football, you're getting to watch your teams play already. But the U.S., we're still trying to get things, nailed down with athletes and unions you talked about and owners. Do you think that this could have long-term effect on the game, like all of these? Renegotiations?
Well, I hope not, because it's been such a big part of our lives, for the whole nation. So everybody's kind of figuring out what to do without it. Everybody that I talk to is like, there's nothing going on TV. So the normal things you do on the weekends, you got to find other things to do, which might be a good thing. Look at other things and realize there's other important things.
Well, one thing we're definitely hoping still happens this football season. So we'll go back to football, but
definitely.
The Packers made an interesting move with drafting a quarterback in the first round. What do you think about that? And were you surprised when it happened?
I was surprised, and I think a lot of Packer fans are surprised. And, to say the least, they're some of them are miffed, to say the least. But I think it's just the new regime coming in and putting their stamp on the program, saying this is what we're gonna do. We want a running game, ball control, and I still think this quarterback, wasn't, I don't think they should have drafted him that high. They could have got a receiver or something, but that's their job. So I'm just hoping that it works, because they're relying on the running game now, and maybe it'll help Aaron Rodgers too, so he doesn't have to be the hero all the time. But hopefully the receivers will step up, and they seem to have a lot of good running backs now, and hope they address their offensive line problems. So you need that to run.
Yeah. And that franchise is the way that the Green Bay runs with, the community operated, I guess. Do you think that helps or hinders the franchise, or what do you think about that? The way that it's system that they use there at Green Bay.
Well, I'm not too sure about the how the inner workings of the franchise, but seems like they totally new GM and coach is new, and they're going away and they're going in their own direction. And but I don't know. A lot of fans are kind of thinking that they didn't address some of the problems. The defense has to be more consistent. And, they had a lot of holes that I don't know. I don't think they filled, and there was some opportunity to get some players. And they're banking on some guys that a lot of question marks. Some this free agents that they got. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I just hope they made the right moves. They got a good couple of running backs. Aaron Rodgers will do his thing. The defense had some good moments, but I think the running game might keep the defense off the field, so that might help.
Yeah.
So as far as
Green Bay went all the way to the NFC Championship last year, so it's crazy to think that they just had a few pieces they needed, but it seems like almost a teardown. You get a new quarterback, but. Also, like you said, you come to a bunch of UH games too. What do you think about this offseason and this change to a new coaching regime too here?
Yeah, I haven't read a lot about what they do, but I know their recruiting seems to be doing good, and they're hitting a different geographical area, and that's good for. I think it's good to get some Texas talent, and they seem to have. Influence in getting people from different areas that we've never tried before. Hopefully still get guys from California and of course from Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, when you look at some of the older coaching regimes and the ones prior, obviously there's an emphasis now on the high flashy offense, and we're hoping to get a lot of yardage. Now that you've seen so many different coaches come to the UH program, is this what style of football do you think you more enjoy? Like a big time defense we used to have before in control, or now it's like kind of offensive firepower?
Yeah, we need the defense. We need to go back to those days when we had those tough defenses and to separate ourselves from the pack, because Mountain West is pretty much offensive league, so we need to step up. And I think this coaching staff wants that to happen to the defense. And they know that we like passing game, and whatever their type of passing game is, I hope that our guys can, continue to be known as a great passing team with lots of offense. But we need the defense to come up, and you need players for that. So hopefully they're in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about the stadium now and seeing what the stadium was like when you used to work special duty, you talk about how crazy it was. Do you think there's a big difference from the stadium? What's the biggest difference you think you see the days back then to now?
It just seems that it's a lot harder to get people in the stadium. The crowds aren't there, and the students aren't there. We really have to start getting more youth into the stadium, getting more of these youth teams. So apparently football is popular among the youth and Hawaii youth. So if we can get them going to the stadium, giving them cheap tickets, whatever it takes, get them in the stadium. They bring their parents. They're going to buy stuff from the concession and get that base going again.
Yeah.
I remember my dad took us to the old stadium. Like in the old days, we'd see, Hawaii be getting pounded from Lynn Field, Puget Sound, Central Washington. So they've come a long way in the past.
Yeah.
That's like 50 years ago when we used to go to those games, and then so that's how UH has been. We've transitioned up to a Division I program, so we've been stuck in. We've had a lot of success, but we want more, and hopefully, everybody else in the state wants it too. Like you always say that, this is the only game in town, so we should support.
Yeah.
I guess people, they're not thinking the same like in the mainland where football is religion. Down here. I
mean, it is in a lot of ways how crazy high school is. Like we talk about high school football all the time. I mean, Monday night flashback games are showing on on OC16, and that's still going to generate some buzz because people here just like high school football. But what do you think it is the difference? It's like high school football that people are talking about, and then Saturday nights it's like quiet, and then NFL is like big again, on Sundays.
Right, right. Yeah, we need to build up that fan base, and they gotta. There's too many high school games on the same nights as the UH football games. They shouldn't have any, but I'm sure they probably got problems with sites and officials and stuff. But I think they shouldn't have any high school games on the night of UH games.
Yeah, yeah,
or,
same. Yeah.
I don't know if getting different times would help, but
yeah,
maybe more tailgating. Guys like to tailgate, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
They're still in the tailgate when guys are in the game, but there's still a bunch of diehard fans, but we got to build new ones up. We got to keep recruiting new fans, just like the team has to recruit new players.
When we talk about recruiting and hopefully getting more people into the stadium, the new stadium they're talking about, and we saw a rendering. How do you feel about having a new stadium, and you think everything's going to be on time as well?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I went through the Honolulu Stadium. That was an old termite palace, and to me, this stadium still looks good. And everybody says it's a dump, but I don't know. To me, it's still way better than Honolulu Stadium for those who lived through that time. And we were dying to have this stadium built, and it's finally built. And but yeah, things could be better. The atmosphere could be better, because all the time we go to the mainland, we see what they do, how much these big time stadiums can pump up the crowds with their dramatic types announcers and great music. And, whereas down here we're just killing it by playing so much ads. I guess you need it, but it's you don't get the fans too excited when you just all this downtime in between plays. You gotta keep them up with something. It's so that's something that we need some progressive people to start working on.
Yeah. Make it more exciting. I mean, now you've been to every West, at least, because I know you've been to San Diego, San Jose, Fresno. We went to. Was that your first time in Fresno? Oh no, you went to Fresno before, right? We went to Fresno in 2018,
I think that's the first time I went to Fresno.
Yeah, 2018 when Fresno got killed. But when you go to all these stadiums, you see what we could be and what the Mountain West, the rest of them are developing. You're like, come on, we can do so much better.
Yeah.
Any places you still want to try and see? Any places you want to try and visit in the whole, not only in the U.S. or in the world, a place that you'd like to see a game at?
The older I get, the less I really get excited about going to games anymore as much. But yeah, it's any game is good. I enjoy any game that I happen to go to. Nowadays, you just go to games because you know somebody, friend of a friend, or somebody's grandsons and stuff. So I just enjoy it as it pops up. But yeah, I want to make it a point to go to more UH games and as many as I can to help get that going.
For sure.
And other UH sports too.
Yeah.
As we still like to watch high school sports and stuff, and like I said, because somebody have a personal reason. But
yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you just go out there, if we just make it like a thing for people, then it won't matter. Because there are a lot of people, they'll wait till they know somebody on the team, and then they'll stay fans. But we need to keep people together. So, but on the show, we just kind of had a chance to talk to a lot of people as well before. We had Cole Brandon on the show, Bob Wagner. I know you caught some of those, Ezra Tuolo, Jelani, Tavai, John Ursua. Any things that have stood out to you since from some of those interviews?
Yeah, I mean it's good to see you keep in touch with those guys and show them we haven't forgotten them. We're still keeping an eye on them,
Yeah.
Because they gave us a lot of good moments, Just wish there were more Jelani Tavais out there to come to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And John Ursuas, for that matter, too, local boy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Definitely. There's another guy that comes up to the church and plays ball every now and then, without I'm sure letting Seattle Seahawks know.
Well, he's one of the best. Pete Carroll said he's the best player on the team, the best basketball player on the whole Seattle Seahawks. So that's pretty. And Russell Wilson's pretty good too. I think he could have played pretty high level. But yeah, talking about I was going to ask you about, playing basketball. I got to play, like we say, play at the church. I don't think you were up there when Troy Polamalu came up. That was fun.
Oh,
and I tried to dunk on him, and he got real mad and tackled me in the middle of the court.
I wasn't there that
amazing.
night, but I was there for a lot of his other cousins' night. Yeah, I was getting kind of bruising at the church. They had to stop it for a little while there. We're getting out of hand.
Chris Fuamatu-Ma'afala, that's why that guy is...
lots of 300-pounders were showing up, yeah.
It's crazy. Those guys are next,
Yeah, you can foul them harder, though. They don't feel it as much as skinny guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. But you'd like to play down there, get down in the post too, and some of those guys they're big bruisers down there. So
yeah, I can foul, so that's all good. That's the equalizer. You got the no layup rule is always in effect, man. So.
Well, for those people now that are playing basketball out there, I mean, what do you think a lot of people should work on the most? What do you see when you see people playing and stuff? Just playing hard and playing defense. Try to play all the whole total game. I think total game. A lot of guys, that's what they give you nowadays is a total game. All the better players. Yeah.
So guys should try and emulate that. A lot of kids, they just want to shoot threes, and threes is a big part of the game now. It's changed.
Yeah.
But to get on the court, you're gonna have to show a lot of hustle and grit and get down and play defense. That'll keep you out there and fight for the ball. Just basic stuff, And I always thought you could teach somebody at least how to play defense and fight for the ball pretty quickly and at the lower levels anyway when they introducing them to the game, and then as you get to like the game, you can start working on other things. But I think you just strive to be to make your teammates better. Yeah. But you gotta play defense. I was reminded of that a lot of times by guys that I grew up idolizing. Kaipo Spencer.
Yeah.
Dennis Salas.
Shout out to him.
Al Stringer.
His family. Yeah. And all
they get on your case. Let me tell you.
Yep. Well, those guys are all huge, pioneers too in local basketball and football players and great athletes that have come up. But what would you say for those athletes too now who have maybe potential to play at UH? How do we keep some of those guys at home too?
Yeah, they gotta have the grades, and I know it's really tough for local guys to make it in Division I and stuff. I think a shot clock would really help you local basketball in general, because everybody comes out with no sense of they figure they can hold the ball as long as possible, but the way the game is played with the mainland teams, it's all speed and just attacking, and I see young kids, I always tell them just attack the basket. You can always practice your 3-point shot in your driveway, but when you got people to play with, you gotta practice attacking and trying to finish, and then you got options on how you can finish. But most of all, you just got to keep playing hard.
Yep. So we still practice, play horse. I keep losing to him still though, but pretty soon. But one thing about options, we talk about how much the game has changed and evolved, and people are Euro stepping now and not doing it. The game has changed a lot, but do you think that's made the game better, or especially the state of the NBA, because everyone's shooting from outside now, and everyone's just such great ball handling too.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how the 3-point percentages go up all the time. All these European players coming in, showing their brand of basketball, and that's something that Americans got to pick up on, because their skill level is up there. So guys, realizing now that they got to work a total game, and in order to, it's been more competitive, but it's the best league in the world. So
of course. It's the best league, period, in the world. The best league of any sport in the world is the NBA, in my opinion. I mean, you got to be very gifted to play in the NBA. Oh, Carolyn Onaga, there's one of your great speedy people. Who always ask about you. But, when we talk about the debate that keeps happening, because we just had a 10-part series about MJ, what do you think about? I want to ask you what you think about the MJ versus LeBron debate yet, but what do you think about it? Just that question in general.
Yeah, well, we already knew MJ was asked a lot of his teammates, and he used to rip on them a lot. But you're not going to beat 30 other teams in the NBA without, being better. And a lot of these guys wouldn't have won a ring without him, but they had to go up with his abuse or whatever. But I'm sure it made them a better team, and with whatever way worked, and for him, in his case, it worked.
So when people compare, when they talk about the greatest of all time, is that something that we can definitively even say, or what would your opinion be for the LeBron versus Michael Jordan? And we're just saying, I mean, might not be LeBron or MJ. That's just what people say.
It's just different years, different types, little different. I mean, just watching Michael Jordan's docuseries, it was just brought back to how physical it was before, and how the bangers and the guys that kept you in the game, the physical guys, the Oakleys and Lambiers.
Yep.
Games changed a little as far as now you gotta have skills, and you can't have two bigs on the court anymore because you gotta guard people. And there's different years, but I think LeBron is right up there. I mean, him and MJ, it's like they're right up there. They just came at different times, so it's people want to debate all day, but I prefer just to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to enjoy. I mean, who are some of the players that you enjoy watching today in the NBA?
Well, the beard, he kind of irritates me sometimes, but he's doing something that everybody else better start doing because it works for him.
Oh, yeah, he's very unique.
And their team was doing good too. So, I like to watch Doncic.
Yeah.
I like to watch Nikola Jokic.
Luka's probably my favorite player right now too.
Guys, good passing eyes who can do things without being the greatest physical people, but they're just smart players.
Do you think Steph Curry was going to be as good as he is?
Steph Curry was just showing all kinds of stuff that I never saw before.
Oh yeah,
so,
I mean, he's going to be one of the greats for sure. Steph Curry, if he's not already one of the greats of all time. And it's amazing to see how developed he has from Davidson, how skinny he was, and how amazing and just how great of a shooter he is now. But like guys like KD too, who can just like break you down and go to the basket, and they're still super tall. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we haven't seen. But I mean, watching Giannis Antetokounmpo play is probably one of my favorite players too. Obviously, one of the best players in the league, the MVP last year. But he can get down the court in 3 dribbles, basically, probably 2, getting the defensive rebound on one side, and fast breaking on his own. But when you look at some of these guys who are kind of their names, they're not the bigger guys ever, like the Brandon Ingrams and the Balls, and now the more Ball brothers, another Ball brother coming soon. But some of these younger players too. What are some of those guys that come to mind for you?
Let me think. It's since I've been away from the NBA for a couple months.
Yeah, I know.
So it may just.
But you still watch the Sixers, so you talk a lot about you're watching Embiid and watching Ben Simmons play. I mean, what is that like having those guys on the team?
Yeah, they have so much talent, and hopefully they can figure it out how to play more consistently, and play their all-around games because. They got the talent, and that's the thing around a lot of in the NBA, and a lot of it's like chemistry. A lot of guys gotta that's up to the coach too to make sure that everybody's getting their touches.
Yeah.
And getting the ball where they want.
Well, how do you think the Sixers are positioned right now? Do you think they can win the championship in this coming tournament?
They got a lot. Well, they were kind of taking a bad turn for a little while there. So, and a lot of guys were, getting ahead of them. Like you said, Giannis and his team, that's a pretty good team. I like the way Giannis plays.
Yeah.
Embiid will start playing like that, less dramatics and more just, focus. And I guess that's what a lot of people notice about him. Of course, everybody's different. Everybody got their own personality.
Yeah, everybody's different. I mean, especially your European players, international players, very different from American players as well. Of course, Timmy brought up some good names: Booker, John Moran, De'Aaron Fox, some other guys. De'Aaron Fox, super fun guy to watch play. But the NBA seems like the talent is just as rich, if not more, than ever before, and I think that's the most exciting part. Because we're now getting the best players from all over the world, and now there's so many good players. But it's also going to affect the international game. So You see other countries that are going to be major basketball powerhouses pretty soon too, if not already.
Yeah, I think there's so many countries that already got it. The Eastern Europeans,
Yep.
Spain,
Spain. Yeah,
Italy.
we talk about that.
I didn't even realize that France had the next highest amount of foreign. I never realized that. I know they had a lot, but
yeah, that's true. I mean, having just Rudy Gobert alone, one of the best, big men in the NBA, and just what they got at France. But even Asia, we talk a lot about how big the game is over there. It'd be cool to have another guy like Yao Ming, another guy that can be an ambassador too for the Asian basketball. And that's the one great part about basketball. It brings together the whole entire international community. But when it comes to Olympics, you look at Australia for sure. I mean, that's got to be one of the teams that. When we went to Australia for the UH game against when we played in Sydney, I was shocked at how many people were playing just indoor and just everywhere, basketball everywhere.
Right. It's it's a city games. It's also for the guy that lives in a country and nobody around, he's going to shoot baskets too. So
yeah, that's true.
The game just has spread so much now that it's all over the world. The NBA did a lot to do for that.
Yeah.
And it's a great game. It's a game that people can enjoy. Even if you don't know what you're doing on the court, it's still fun.
It's better to know what you're doing.
Running around with your friends. What else could be better than that?
Better to know what you're doing.
Yeah,
you're gonna get on the basketball court. Yeah, no, it is fun, and it's one thing we can all play. People can jump in and get physical with it right away. But the game, and now that we realize how much more important it is to us because we're watching it all the time, and now we don't get a chance to watch it. So what has it been like for you? What have you been doing to take up the time that you've been watching sports?
Like everybody else, we amateur gardeners and doing things you haven't done in a long time, like cleaning up, cleaning your yard. And, it gets old, go to the beach, But we're lucky we live in Hawaii. We got more options. I feel sorry for the people that are cooped up in the big cities in a way that they don't have much outlets like we do. We're pretty lucky over in Hawaii.
Yep, pretty lucky. We can do a lot here because we live here. Go to the beach, for all kind. Now that the inter-island quarantine is over, you can go inter-island, which is fun. And we used to do that all the time, and we still, do a lot of traveling. But that's all I had. If anybody had any questions, I'm looking through. Everybody saying hi, happy Father's Day. Alon says happy Father's Day. Keola says still running and gunning. Yep. So you got a lot of our family
just gunning
coming back and saying aloha. Candy, who you met in Reno, of course, with our beautiful cake. Joanna saying hi.
Wish it was still there at that. That was fun running all those different breweries.
Oh yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah.
We went to Nevada and went to the distillery. So we do a lot of fun adventures. You gotta come along if you're hopefully this season too. Nothing's planned obviously because of just the craziness of this time, but definitely gotta come on a trip with us, hang out. He's already been on tons of trips, gone all over the place. So we want to bring you along. Of course, Uncle Tommy is in there as well, so we gotta say hi to Uncle Tommy. Yeah, we're waiting for him.
Go Wolfpack.
So the Monarchs saying go Wolfpack, but that's all we had. Hope you guys all had a happy Father's Day, and we'll see you guys next time, okay?
Aloha.